Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you each and every week. If you could subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification button and drop a like on the video, we would really appreciate that. It is Thursday. It's Thursday Tier Talk. We're at the back end of an international break now, so the Premier League is back, thank God. And there's no bigger return.
Thank the Lord Jesus.
And there's no bigger return to the Premier League than Liverpool versus Man United. So we will be focusing quite a bit on that game tonight. And we will be running down through the other games as well. We'll be having a chat about League of Ireland as well. Can Shamrock Rovers finally get over the line against St. Pat's this weekend and seal the league so they can focus on Europe? We'll be talking about Pico Lopez, who's qualified for the World Cup with Cape Verde. Absolutely fantastic stuff there. And we'll be asking the question that's been coming out of Cork relegated. And we'll ask the question, is now the gap between the First Division and the Premier Division in Ireland too much to have any hope of staying in division year on year? We'll talk about that as well. Philip is in the chat, of course. Hiya, lads. Thank fuck the proper football is back. Absolutely. But Darren, before we start football,
yes,
I'm
no,
going to put you on the spot here. We did a lovely little show last night on Pro Wrestling Weekly last night where we discussed our Mount Rushmore of wrestling heels. Would you like
of wrestling heels?
Wrestling heels. Would you like to give me your four that make the Mount Rushmore?
Right. So, Ric Flair.
Shout. Now, before you go any further, this can be manager, owner, wrestler, whatever you want, male, female, whatever way you want to do it. Doesn't even have to be WWE. It can be WCW, it can be TNA, it can be AEW if you watched it.
Which I don't. Ric Flair. Mr. Perfect.
Shout, yeah.
I know some people would probably say Piper, but I'm not sure whether I'd describe Piper as a heel. Although I know as a heel, he was phenomenal. Did Piper make anyone's cut?
Yeah, he made a few of them last night, yeah. Made a few.
So I can stick with Piper. So I'm going to go Piper, Flair, Perfect, and one more. One more. Let me think now. Do you know who I have to put on it? Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Shout. He was on my one.
Was he?
Yeah.
Nice. It was a busy day today, so I haven't had a chance to catch up on that. But
yeah,
Perfect, I had, Heenan, Flair, and Piper. Right, what was yours?
I had Vince.
Yeah, absolutely. The ultimate heel. Yeah.
Yeah, I had Bobby Heenan, as I said.
Yes.
I had Ric Flair, and I had Hulk Hogan, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. The turn at 96 with the NWO changed the direction of pro wrestling forever.
Absolutely.
So they're the four I had on it now. But look, you could shout out Orton 09.
We two then. That was good. We two. That was all right. And what did Sean go?
Oh, there was loads of them. They've all gone up as videos and stuff like that. Nearly all four have gone up at the moment. There was loads in there. Sean Mack had Raven on his. There was quite the variation, so it was pretty good, but it was good because on the podcast at the moment we've quite a different dynamic in the ages and stuff like that. So watching different eras and stuff, so it makes for interesting debate, as they say.
Modern day heels, where are we going? Are we going like Brock?
The Miz.
Miz
is a great heel. Miz has been
phenomenal. Sorry, what? Here's what I'm going to tell you. Miz for me is unbelievable. Like, really has. He's been phenomenal. He's been a great company guy. Like, I think he had that record at one stage where literally everyone he faced beat him and just turns up every week, does the job, great. I just don't know whether...
Held his own great in that scene, a rock threesome kind of thing at that stage.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're talking currently, I mean, Dom is in there, obviously, because Dom's probably one of the best heels in the company.
And you know what? Dom is unbelievable. I actually saw something earlier on, and it was there was 2 pictures, and it was Dom in the first set of Power Ranger gear he had. And it was Dom after last week,
Yeah.
And it was like, is this the greatest transformation in wrestling? And I was like, do you know what? Probably up there.
Did you see his post yesterday for saying it?
Oh, yeah. It was quality, wasn't it?
Yeah,
if he wants me to beat his ass.
If someone wants this, if this old geezer wants me to put the final nail in the coffin, quality.
Brilliant.
Quality. Phil's in as well. Phil went in with Ric Flair, Hollywood Hogan, Bobby Heenan, Triple H. Great show.
Triple H.
Consummate heel. Absolutely.
I think Flair and Heenan are for me they're fairly nailed on.
Jerry, every time you say easy Liverpool victory, we get beaten. Just say a draw or something.
So, do you know what? Somebody... Where's that, Jack?
Jack. That's Jack, yeah.
Good man, Jack, the Red Rain. Somebody was trying to have a little dig at me earlier.
Oh.
Hello, Joanne. Yeah, some silly individual, trying to have a little bit of a jab at me. And I think the words that came out of their mouth were, yeah, and I hope Liverpool rear-enges on Sunday. Okay. Obviously not a football fan, And I said, you know what? Even if they do, it won't matter a fuck to me, because I'm going to be in Dubai sipping on mojitos in 35 degrees. So really and truly, for Sunday, big game, massive game. Will I have my jersey on? Absolutely. Will the result play a huge part in how I feel on Sunday evening? Probably fucking not.
Maybe every few minutes you might reach over to the phone from the Sun Lounger to get an update on live scores. I'm sure you'll be bothered.
It'll be dark at that stage, don't forget, because they're 3 hours ahead.
Oh,
so
yeah,
we're 4:30 on Sunday, right? 4:30 on Sunday will be 7:30 in Dubai. So it'll be dark. Be warm, but it'll be dark.
Right, let's begin. Premier League preview is back. I know these are small, so
I have two random topics for you.
Okay, cool.
Do you want me to go first, or do you want me to go last?
No, go on, go first. I do have now. I meant to say, actually, I have the salary cap. Is that one you were talking about?
No.
Okay, I have the salary cap there on the slides.
There was a discussion earlier on in the week. Best player in the Premier League right now. Did you see this conversation?
I did. Is this the one where Caicedo was 3rd or something, or 4th, which was insane, I think?
Well, when the conversation came up, I was like, yeah. I was listening, and, Haaland's obviously on fire at the minute. And blah, blah, and Declan Rice is a great footballer, and yada, yada, and whatever. And I just went, now, by the way, not a Chelsea fan. We all know I'm not a Chelsea fan. I cannot, for the life of me, see past the boy Caicedo for the best player in the league right now. Can't see past him. He's unbelievable. That's the thing I was gonna say. It's not in one facet of the game. Listen, if we want to know who's the best goal scorer, possibly that the league's ever seen, the big man's got to be in the conversation. Haaland, he's outrageous. But for what he does in a game, for work rate, for endeavour. Now, loads of people have work rate and endeavour. Dan James has work rate and endeavour, but he's shy. Right? So this lad has work rate and endeavour. However, he brings a level of quality. There's there's passion, there's emotion, there's technical gift.
And he impacts the game.
Everything he does is just, and I'm just looking at him going, this is, because don't forget, you boys were in for this lad. Chelsea were in from an, where'll he go?
You don't have to remind me.
No, I know. But like at this stage,
that was one of my most excited mornings going into work, and when I had gotten into work, the news was delivered that actually
changed.
It was horrible. It was a horrible morning. I got so
Yeah,
excited.
and I don't listen.
That's why now I don't get overly excited about signings anymore.
I don't imagine at this stage people could have said, because listen, there's a big step from Brighton to Chelsea, don't forget. And he wasn't at Brighton that long either, 18 months or whatever he was at. So he'd come in from Ecuador. He'd done a good job at Brighton and taken the step to Chelsea. And you were like, okay, well, it's a big move. It's a lot of money, 100+ million for this guy. And I just went, can't see anybody in the league better than him at the minute. Really can't. Would love to be able to say, oh, Mbeumo or Fernandez. Caicedo. Unbelievable.
I think with Moise Caicedo, the thing about it is, he's not necessarily a 10 at anything, but he's an 8 or a 9 at everything.
Everything.
Yeah. And he just everything. And the thing about, we see lots of players running around with work rate and endeavour and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But they don't impact the game the way Moise Caicedo impacts the game. It's a different level of it's not only work rate, it's effective work rate. That leads to something. If he's not the assist, he's the assist to the assist. If he's not doing that, he's banging in 25 yarders into the top corner. He does a lot.
He really is. Yeah. He's phenomenal. So I wanted to weigh in on that one. And then the second one, you won't love this because you don't love this particular person, but it came in tonight to the news that Jordan Pickford had signed a new deal at Everton. Yeah. And I was looking through a few stats, and I'm looking at this guy and I'm going, this lad has played for Sunderland and Everton. And I think he's 4th on the all-time clean sheet record in the Premier League. Yeah. Like, that's fucking phenomenal. I think he's 13 ahead of De Gea, but he played 85 more games, right? But like, I'm going, this is right. And you're looking and thinking, does he get there? He might. And errors leading to goals. He's had, I think the last 5 years, he's had 2 errors leading to goals in 5 years. And he plays 38 games every season. Like, he is a model of consistency. And I know there'll be no love lost, obviously, with him being a toffee and the Virgil thing. So I completely get that. But like, just a guy turned himself into a world-class goalkeeper. He did. Do you know? And for last season, we watched him. Everton were, hand on heart, will tell you now, Everton got relegated last season than anyone else played in goal for them. He was.
Forget about last season. You could say the last 5 or 6 seasons.
Last season when they were fighting that relegation, he was unbelievable. They get relegated last season only for Jordan Pickford. And I just thought, like, for him to be up in that conversation with the type of players we're talking about, having played for Sunderland and Everton, like, that is fucking.
Is he going to be the goalkeeping version of Harry Kane? Is there a fine line between loyalty and that lack of ambition? Would you believe it
came up in the conversation. It came up, and somebody suggested if Harry Kane doesn't go to Bayern Munich, he's the attacking version of Jordan Pickford.
He's Mr. Golden Boot.
Mr. Golden Boot, Mr. Clean Sheet, Golden Glove, absolutely. Now, he said in his interviews with the new signing the new deal and stuff, he's mentioned he'd love to win silverware with Everton and stuff like that. And excuse me,
good luck with that.
I think that's tough. If we look at, and I don't like to say this, by the way, if we look at the worst team that's won silverware in the last couple of years, right, you would probably say the worst team is Crystal Palace, yeah?
Yeah. And it would stick in my throat to say it as well, because they were good.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. That's where, like, I don't think Everton touched Crystal Palace last year.
I think this year. I think on form, actually, if you think on form, like United winning that Carabao Cup and that FA Cup was unbelievable considering how bad you were.
Yeah, but we're not.
I don't mean I'm not judging it the same way.
No.
You know, in terms of on paper and form and how you were performing, like I don't think anyone really gave you huge chances of winning either of those cups. And when you won them, it was like,
I don't think anyone gave us, certainly the Carabao. We were favourites against Newcastle. I think the game with City was the game that people didn't imagine we would get over the line in, but that was a game that we miraculously turned up in.
But you were probably playing against a Newcastle side that on form was probably playing better football than you.
Yeah, but also a Newcastle team that hadn't won a trophy at that stage. So that was
they hadn't won a trophy in 60 years or whatever it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we looked after them and then they shit on us over like that.
But to say that, and I'm thinking, I don't, maybe even you could mention West Ham with the Europa or the conference. But
why do you think he's re-signed? I mean, he's very comfortable in his England position. He's very comfortable being the big lad.
Where does he go? Where does he go?
Well, I mean, if we're talking about a world-class goalkeeper, I mean, obviously he wouldn't go to Liverpool because you're breaking you're going through the forbidden door.
Okay, so he's not going to Liverpool. City have Donnarumma and Trafford, so he's not going there.
But would he have gone into City before Donnarumma went there? Because he's certainly better than Trafford.
I think he's at a different stage of his career than Trafford. He's more established. I wouldn't necessarily say he's just a better keeper. I think it's too hard to judge because we haven't seen 10 years of Trafford the way we have of Pickford. Do you know what I mean?
Right now, if we're sitting here and we're signing the contract.
Yeah, I think if I look at
Trafford.
Well, I'm not sure. I think if I look at Pickford when he was Trafford's age, I'd probably punt for Trafford.
Newcastle? On the trajectory they're on, because they're more than likely to win something than Everton are.
Possibly, but no. And listen, we know, but listen,
Chelsea.
they've got Nick Pope and obviously Aaron Ramsdale. I have Pickford ahead of both of them. England's
Chelsea,
number one.
Certainly ahead of Robert Sanchez.
I think Chelsea would be a real good bet for him.
Because he's a shithead.
A little bit. Yeah.
And they love that. They want that.
Yeah, it is
surprising. So if you're looking at your career,
maybe here's the thing. Maybe the money's never been on the table for him. Because what would Everton want from him?
Oh, they'd want big money from him. But I think looking as much as my disdain for him and stuff like that, and the Van Dijk and all that, if you park all that, I mean, he's worth what you would pay. He's an excellent goalkeeper. There's no denying that.
Me personally, I would have no problem paying 50 million from him.
I think if 50 million goes on the table for him, I think Everton will take it.
I'm not sure.
I think so.
Possibly at different stages over the last couple of years, but again, what's that Premier League safety worth to them? Because if they sell him last summer, they go down for my money. So yeah, it's a difficult one. I don't know if it's lack of ambition at times. I think that's difficult to say.
Looking phenomenal with that headset.
Thanks, Eno.
I don't know. I think at some stage, look, it happened to Harry Kane. Harry Kane bled Spurs blood. Eventually, you turn around and you go, I could have bought my arse here and actually put a few medals in the cabinet or a bit of silverware.
Is Kane slightly different though? And the only reason I say Kane is slightly different, goal scorers are a massive commodity. I don't think most teams in their head value a goalkeeper as much as they do a number 9. Do I think that's a wrong thing for them to do? Absolutely.
It is for me or you.
Listen. Absolutely.
A wise man once said strikers win your games and defenses win your leagues or trophies or whatever.
Yeah, listen, I don't agree with it. But I think it's fashionable. Like, are your fan base going to get excited about a £50 million goalkeeper? I don't think so. I think what happens with a £50 million goalkeeper is people wait to find holes in what he does.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. You either have the ability to step up and wear the heavier jersey and be at the top end. Like Jordan Pickford in the Champions League. Jordan Pickford in the World Cup.
Pickford, sorry, something just came to my mind here. Pickford never goes to Newcastle because he's Sunderland.
We're looking for suitors in terms of.
We are, but
Yeah.
so you would said you wouldn't, the Liverpool Everton thing that wouldn't sit very well. He ain't going to play for Newcastle as a Sunderland boy. Not a chance.
Could he go on the continent?
Yes.
Our boy Simeone would love him. Now I know he has a good keeper. But
He does, but
Jordan Pickford at Atletico, they would absolutely love him.
They would love him. He would be phenomenal.
No, I'm not saying. Yeah.
No. I don't imagine Atletico were spending 50 mil on a keeper.
No. Could he go to an AC Milan? Could he go if Mike Mannion exited?
Not spending that money. AC Milan are spending that money on a striker. Never mind on. Yeah. The European football at some levels, especially financially, has fallen off a massive cliff if you're not a 4 or 5 clubs. Could he have been a replacement for Donnarumma at PSG? Maybe. That could have been a good fit.
Yeah. Aces, see English press have England in the top 3 to win the World Cup. That's not a stretch for me.
Not even slightly.
You're laughing at that, Aces. Why are you laughing at that? I mean, they've literally been semi-finalists and runners-up and stuff in most of the last couple of major tournaments or whatever it is. I don't know why that's a stretch. I think what the issue is, I think Tommy Tukes needs to very quickly figure out what his actual squad's going to be and who he actually wants to use, and maybe get a bit of settling in there on the road to the World Cup. But
I probably only have France, Spain, and Argentina in a conversation with England.
So pending the draw, there's your semi-final.
That's for me. That's they'll absolutely run right on Italy. Germany aren't the team they've been. Brazil, we'll see what happens under Ancelotti, but haven't been good for a number of years. I think I have them in the top 4. So, if the English press have them in top 3 and they're biased, it's
a matter of fact with the squad and the players they have available to them.
I think we're going to get to a stage where, and again, Spain are a very talented squad. Argentina are getting on a little bit age-wise. They're waiting on the Franco Mastoanos to come to a level, and they're waiting on, Garnacho and guys like these to come in and take the spot to the older guys, the Di Marias and the Messis and stuff like that. But for me, the only really, if I look at it, the only squad for me and kind of depth of player is France. They're the only ones that have the kind of depth that England have for me. It's like I probably say
the quality in that French league has jumped as well massively.
It is, and because obviously it's the in thing to do to go and pick something up in France. So it became fashionable, which meant the depth in the French. Now, I think we've seen it I know I've seen it on social media and stuff where they've shown you the first 11 in France and the fifth 11, and you're going 55 to 60 of these lads. What?
This is NFL levels.
This is like a squad of 54. I'm like, what is going on here, lads? This is, the 4th choice goalkeeper is like fucking. I'm just like, where is this coming from?
The only reason France, funny enough, the only reason France don't tend to go on and win tournaments is because they actually implode internally.
Yeah.
But the quality, that quality at that 11 or 15 is outrageous.
I think that's why it's so important. If you're somebody like France and you do have the level of ability, it's not all about the tactical nous of your coach and stuff like that. It's how good are they at keeping fucking harmony? How good are they? How good are they? On a Tuesday afternoon when the lads are a bit antsy in the hotel, how good are they at keeping everyone with a smile on their face and keeping them interested and stuff so they don't start fucking picking rows with each other? Because if you can do that, the boys will cakewalk it. They're unbelievable. They really are.
Portugal in that conversation with you, Phil? I don't think so, do you?
Listen,
I think that's slightly short. Some good players in there, but
listen, they're still, for me, Portugal's biggest problem is they're way too heavily reliant on Ronaldo.
And now you've guys like Bernardo Silva as well, who they're still sitting on. Obviously, Ruben Neves is there, and I know they did good things. Like, you look at that Ireland game the other night as well, it's like...
We're not a good team, and we did okay against them. Do you know, if I look at that in comparison to, I was at the England-Ireland game 18 months ago, whatever it was, in the Aviva, and England blew us away in the first half. Just blew us away. And you were like, oh, God, this is
Jack
like...
Jack
Grealish, Anthony Gordon ran riot. I was like, this could be 4 or 5. Now, I think it finished at 3, but,
Yeah, it'll probably be the same. It'll probably be blood and guts as well in the Aviva, to be honest. So there we go. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, it's mad. Insane. Right, we shall get into it, will we? We'll shoot down through a lot of these because we really want to get to Liverpool, Man United and have a chat. I have a preview tomorrow night as well at 8:30. But let's start. Nottingham Forest versus Chelsea.
Let me just get me fixtures up here so I can see them. Nottingham Forest, Chelsea.
Early kickoff.
Chelsea obviously on the back of a great result. And you'll probably be on the back of 2 weeks trying to find a formula to how do I get this thing working, I think there is pluses for Forest. I think at times Chelsea are still a little bit blunt for my liking. Obviously Delap is out injured and Palmer is out injured as well. And the boys out. Pedro, I think, if I'm right, he's now suspended. So that leaves things a little bit, and obviously Jackson has left the building. That leaves them a little bit light up front, little bit. And I suppose if Forest are going to get something out of this, Forest are going to nick it. They're not going to score 2 or 3. It'll be a 1-0 sort of a job. I think this will be a tougher game for Chelsea than they'll expect, especially after the result against you guys. I'm going to go 1-1 here.
Yeah, so that'd be a huge upset to kick off the weekend, wouldn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. Brighton, Newcastle.
Yeah, listen. Newcastle obviously with a good win the last day, 2-0 at home against Forest, and Brighton getting a late equaliser against Wolves. Do you know what I'm loving right now? I'll tell you what my guilty pleasure is. Do you want to know?
Go on.
I love watching the boy Nick Faltamada.
Yeah.
Love watching him. Real nice footballer. Tidy. Almost Peter Crouch-like, but like good in the air, good with his feet, plays with a smile on his face, bit of work rate. Just loving watching him. Got a good goal the other night as well for when I say good goal, there's no bad goals. Got a goal the other night for Germany against Northern Ireland. They beat them 1-0 up there in Windsor Park. So kept his scoring run going as well. I think Newcastle might beat them here. Because I just think Brighton are a hit and miss side for me at times, and I think little bit, and I think Newcastle coming back after the internationals. Gordon's done well. He scored a few goals and stuff for England. He'll be pouring. Elanga played a little bit of game time. Valtamada got a goal. Provided the South Americans land nice and gently, the Joe Lintons and the Bruno Guimaraes and stuff like that. Yeah, I think I'll go Newcastle 2-1.
Cool. Burnley, Leeds.
Relegation 6-pointer. Relegation 6-pointer. Burnley, yeah, listen, I suppose just nipped off the last day 2-1 at Villa and Leeds beaten 2-1 by Spurs. I think just because they're at home, I have to favour Burnley. I think when I'm looking at these 6-pointers, these relegation games, generally the team that's at home, I will favour slightly. Now, I'm saying that Sunderland went and turned Burnley over at Turf Moor, but I think they'll have enough in it to just nick off Leeds. I'm going to go 2-1 Burnley.
I was talking to Paul about this yesterday. I think it was on the way to work. I was giving him a lift into college, or into work, I should say. And I was talking about it, and I was saying that Dominic Calvert-Lewin sighting, although he's played well at times for Leeds, they've bought him kind of as a 9 to score goals, but he's playing more like a 10. His hold-up play and all seems pretty good at the moment, but he's turning and there's no one ahead of him. It's supposed to be him. And I think they're really missing that. And I think there's an issue there really at the moment. And I think Leeds just lacking goals really and stuff, you know. So,
well, what I think is supposed to happen is obviously Calvert-Lewin is the 9, and he dropped deeper into the 10 position to get the ball, but it also creates space in behind for the two speed merchants, which is now Okafor on one side and Dan James on the other. But they haven't been able to get in behind into that open space when he's dragging the centre back out, you know. And what happens then is he gets involved, gets a couple of touches, and as you say, when he pops the ball off, there's nobody in there.
Yeah, there's a big gap in the middle.
I do think he's doing a really good job, though. I do think he's doing a really good job. You know, staying fit for Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a really good job. So the fact he's staying fit and he's contributing, you know, is obviously a plus for Leeds. And listen, he also didn't cost a penny, don't forget. So that's a decent signing.
Would you be interested in putting him in the 10 position and maybe putting someone ahead of him and trying it?
No, because I think the issue is...
If you had someone, obviously.
I think the issue is... Well, he has the boy Felix Nemchek off the bench, right? But I think the issue is if you play Calvert-Lewin as the 10, he then has to pick the ball up going towards goal. And I think technically he's not as good as, like, if we look at other 10s in the league, okay, he's not having a great time, but a Wirtz or a Bruno Fernandes or an Eberechi Eze or guys like that. Like, we're not putting Dominic Calvert-Lewin in that bracket. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So I think what he's doing is good. I think it's I think Daniel Farke, I think the Leeds squad is terrible. I don't know if I said this to you. I think the squad is really poor. Like, I know Red Bull come in there and I did expect them to pour a bit of money at it because they were mentioning Jose Mourinho's name and we're going to give the jobs to Jose. And I'm like, you ain't giving the job to Jose with that squad, lads. Jose ain't taking that. Not a chance.
Maybe, do you reckon maybe they held back a little bit to see how the Farke situation goes? Because we know there was a lot of talk around it in the summer.
Possibly. I do understand why you wouldn't give him a lot of money to spend if you thought he wasn't going to last very long.
We'll get to it, Acers. We'll get to it, don't we?
You know? So, I do understand that. But listen, I don't think that's a great... This is where I like, you know, we talked about this Bayern model before. You're not buying players for the manager. You're buying players for the system that the club want to play. Right? So therefore, if Farke comes out and they put somebody else in, he should have similar values and similar, you know, attributes to be able to get the best from that particular squad. Yes, you'll always want one or two, but it's not going to be this drastic overhaul situation because that's the way we play. And, you know, this is our philosophy.
There's so many holes in that Leeds side at the moment, isn't there?
Absolutely.
There's a lot. I mean, we could talk, 5 or 6? We could talk half the 11.
Well, I think the issue is you're talking half the 11, but I think if you go further, I think you're probably talking about 12 of the 20.
Yeah. So you're talking 50% plus.
Yeah, 60 even.
Which ain't your recipe. And look, you have to feel for Daniel Farke as well a bit if he hasn't been supported. You know.
You know, like they did make a couple of signings, but like there was fuck all money spent. Excuse me.
Yeah, I don't think you're jumping out of your chair and getting too excited about Dominic Calvert-Lewin based on the last 2 to 3 years, you know what I mean? And he's not going to be the go-to guy, you know. Bamford exited the building, but Bamford couldn't stay fit. I don't think Paul was saying he still hasn't found a club yet, and I'm not surprised. Paul was saying he was on about 75 grand there at Leeds as well, which is absolutely
he was on big money. Now there was talk of Wrexham. However, I don't know if
it'd be less than a third of that, I'd say.
I think so. Yeah.
A matter of fact, I don't see Patrick Bamford getting a club unless it's pay and play. To be honest, I'd say that's what people are offering.
Well, I think you know, I would have said the same thing about Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
have him in the same bracket, and obviously he's proven so far. Listen, we're 7 games in that
But
he's
is
been able to stay fit, and
yeah. But isn't it weird? Isn't it weird as well that you're exiting Patrick Bamford and you're bringing in Calvert-Lewin? Now
absolutely.
I know looking back on
Well,
it, okay,
they're
he is
two of the listen.
yeah,
They're two of the most unlikeliest players to be fit.
different shades of grey.
Yeah, 100%. Somebody
Mm.
say something a bit yappy in the comments there.
What?
Who was that one? Go back, not that one. The other one you had up
Which one?
about. Well, your manager needs players. He does, but we've obviously changed philosophy. Don't forget, Ian.
Mm.
So we now play a completely different system. I would imagine going forward, if United are going to live with this system, we'll change a manager that plays the same system.
I don't think
And
he's on about
Boite,
United. I think he's on about the fact that we said Fark didn't get supported and get the players. I think he's talking in general. It's not about United, I don't think. It doesn't
sorry,
read
I
to
thought
me
he
that
was
way. No, it doesn't read to me
maybe,
that way. But
maybe.
yeah, I don't think so anyway. For me, one of the games of the weekend, Palace Bournemouth.
Yeah, should be a decent game.
Mm.
Antoine Semenyo is just on. Excuse me, he's just on fire at the minute. He really is. He is on fire. It'll be interesting to see can Palace put the shackles on him. Obviously, with Tarek Mitchell on one side and Daniel Munoz on the other. It'll be interesting to see, can they shackle him up a little bit. Evan Nilsson's been very quiet so far this season. Hasn't, I think he's playing okay. He just hasn't been able to get the volumes of goals and assists that maybe he was able to get last season. Palace at home are a decent side. I think they'll make it really, really tough for Bournemouth. I think I'll go in 1-1 here.
City Everton.
Yeah, no, Grealish is obviously a huge issue for them. I can't.
How do you feel about that? I was listening to that today. I was discussing it on Twitter as well. Is it time that we went past that now, that these loan signings can't play against our home club?
Not for me.
No?
No. Like, he's a City player. For him
Yeah.
to line out at the Etihad in an Everton jersey is a little bit farcical for me. He's never... Listen, is he going to try and go and prove things wrong? Absolutely. But I just think you've got guys who are sent out on loan for one reason or another, and it just wouldn't be...
I suppose you couldn't do a carte blanche. There's obviously cases.
No, yeah.
Like, I think if Grealish did line out, I think he'd still do a job for Everton. I think he's an honest kind of player that way.
I think he'd try, absolutely. Yeah. But I also don't love the idea that as a City player, he would have maybe more information than, and that's not to say he ain't giving it to the boys anyway, and there's, so yeah, listen, I agree with it, to be honest. I do.
Yeah. What are you going City here?
I'm going City because Haaland got another hat-trick over the international break.
Yeah, he's a machine.
And he's just, like, at the minute, it's just becoming ridiculous. Like, it really is becoming, like, if we're looking at goals...
He's becoming such a complete centre-forward now.
If we're looking at goals up to this age, is he not blowing a lot of boys out of the water here?
Oh,
and like, and I'm talking about, a couple of the best of all time in Messi and Ronaldo. Like, I don't think they had anywhere near the kind of volume of goals that this lad has at this age. Now, of course, he has 10 to 15 years in front of him or whatever he has, where he'd need to stay fit and healthy and score and assist. But it's just at the minute you just don't see him not being able to score in games, because he's so prolific at the moment.
Yeah.
I'll go 3-1 City.
3-1 City. Sunderland versus Wolves. Sunderland bounce back after the United game?
I'm not sure. I think if I look at it, their home form has been better than their away form. And that 12th man up at the stadium will make life difficult for Wolves. Absolutely. I just think Wolves are starting to get the wheels in motion a little bit. I thought they were. I backed them the last day to beat Brighton and I finished 1-1 in the end. Excuse me. And I just think, they're tight enough at the back. I think the issue is they don't have enough goals in them yet. They're missing the Cunha goals from last year, and they haven't been able to replace them yet. So I don't think they have the goals in them. I wouldn't be surprised to see a draw here. I wouldn't be surprised. I think 1-1. If one of them is going to nick it, it's going to be Sunderland. 2-1. But I think I'll go 1-1.
Cool. And then we have the evening game. Marco Silva versus Arteta. Fulham versus Arsenal at Craven Cottage.
Yeah, I don't agree with somebody earlier on who said Fulham will get something out of this game. I don't agree with that.
No, I don't think so either.
No, I think that would be difficult. Just with what Arsenal have at the minute. Obviously, Saka's back pouring. Got a couple of goals and assists over the international break. You've got Eze, can play at the 10. You've got Martinelli on the other side, Gyökeres, Odegaard's out, Royce, Zubamendi, Moreno got goals for Spain. Trossard got one for Belgium. You've got Wanyeri, Dauman. There's a plethora of riches there at Arsenal at the minute, isn't there? And I don't imagine. Now, listen, I think the one thing you can bet on is, as happens all the time, Bert Leno will have a game against Arsenal. Always does. And against his ex-team. Always has a game. But I can't see past him. I think Fulham will score.
Yeah, I think they could hold steady maybe in the first half, but then I think the pressure will mount. And I think Arsenal just have too many options for them, really,
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0 Arsenal. I think there's so many Arsenal games this season for me that when they're playing big teams, it's gonna be 1-0, and when they're playing, weaker teams, it's gonna be 2-0. And it's just
and it's highly unlucky as well after going top of the table as well, with the bit between their teeth, they'll want to cough it up that quick,
And don't forget, they're so good at the back.
Yeah.
Like they are, that back four is just rock solid.
Absolutely. Right, we'll do Sunday. We'll do Spurs versus Villa.
Spurs Villa, yeah, 2 good wins the last day. Obviously, both got 2-1 wins. Spurs obviously at home. Villa still kind of building themselves back up after a rocky start to the season. Pressure will be on Spurs to get the win and kind of keep themselves up there. But Villa kind of getting moving a little bit, and Watkins obviously getting a couple of goals as well for club and country will make life a bit more difficult for them. Daniel Malin scoring goals, John McGinn getting a couple of goals. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough game, but I think I'll just go Spurs here.
It's a 2-1 or something.
I'll go Spurs 2-1, yeah.
2-1, yeah.
Spurs 2-1.
Right. Let's cover Monday first. West Ham versus Brentford.
Was very impressed with Nuno's first outing, I have to say. I thought when I watched West Ham under Nuno in the first game, it was much better than I would have imagined it was going to be. Do you know what I mean? Now listen, he's got a bit to do, but the result away at Everton, and then obviously the performance against Arsenal, he started to close things up a little bit at the back. They need to score goals. This is huge for them. Fulkrug hasn't done very much at all. Callum Wilson hasn't been fit enough. I think again they're overly reliant on Jared Bowen, and I think Brentford have a little bit of goals in their team, and the boy Igor Thiago and Dango Qatar and stuff like that, and Kevin Shade. So I think it'll be a good game. I think I'll go 1-1 on it.
1-1. Right. Let's talk the game of the weekend, if it isn't Palace and Bournemouth. Liverpool at Anfield versus Man United. Man United coming back in after some nice green shoots and some good positive talk throughout the international break and stuff like that.
There's a bit.
Liverpool, of course, on the back of 3 losses. Couple of players performed well in the international break, some not so good. what you're thinking here on this one? Are you feeling Liverpool? Do you think Slot might have sorted out what needs to be sorted out over the break, tactically wise and formation wise? And are we going to see midfielders playing in defence again? Are we going to see?
I think the issue is, I don't think he fancies either Bradley or Frimpong in the flat four. Therefore, he goes out and he picks Dominic there to give you not only the defensive cover, but to add the extra body in the middle when they pick up the ball, which allows somebody to stay higher up the pitch and stuff like that, you know. So yeah, it's hard to know. I also think he's trying to get Dom into the team because obviously you've got Gravenberch and McAllister, and he was trying to shoehorn Wirtz in. I'll tell you what I think will happen. I think he'll go in with the midfield of Gravenberch, McAllister, and Szoboszlai. The same way I thought he would drop Wirtz the last day. Remember I said to you, I think he'll drop, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he'll go in with Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch in midfield. He'll go in with Salah, Isak, and Gakpo on the other side. That's what I expect.
And who's going in a right back?
And he'll go in with Conor Bradley.
Conor Bradley. Is he going with Robbo on the other side, or is he going with Kerkez?
No, he'll go with Bradley, Kerkez, Van Dijk, Konate, and obviously Marmadashvili, because
Kerkez didn't have a great outing for Turkey the other night either. Like
Hungary.
Or Hungary, I should say. Yeah.
No, he'll go in. Kerkez is you know, he hasn't
somewhat
been
his guy. Somewhat his guy.
Yeah, he's there. He definitely looks more fancy than the opposite side. I think it'll be. That's what I think it'll be. I think it'll be Bradley, Konate, Van Dijk, Kerkez, Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch, and then it'll be Salah, Gakpo, and Isak.
My only thinking why I thought he might go with Robbo was Kerkez had a bit of commentary over the international break, and he spoke about how Arne Slot isn't setting him up the way Bournemouth did and the way he played for Bournemouth, and that they're not playing him that way apparently, and that's what's hampering his game.
Like, I think obviously when you're on international duty and you don't have the press officer from Liverpool standing there, the international...
a bit more lip loose.
Yeah, like just a little bit, and they let a little bit more go, provided it's not about the international team. You know, and
of course it can be contrived in a certain way as well. And it can
absolutely, we look at it, and obviously it's been big news today about Jean-Philippe Mateta and Wilfred Zaha and stuff. And you're like, this is absolutely crazy that there's even a conversation being had over this. Like, if you're telling me that, you know, Mateta came out and gave this full interview and poked at Zaha, and like, this is so much taken out of context. It's scary. It's absolutely scary. But we know this. We know what journalists are like. We know the sensationalistic stuff that happens and stuff like that. And
they've had nothing to blow up about for 2 weeks, really, to generate any traction.
Yeah.
Not that a row between Zaha and Mateta would garner huge traction anyway, you know what I mean?
Well, I gotta tell you, it ain't fucking lasting too long anyway.
No.
The boy Mateta jumps up and gives one of them spin kicks to the head and it's game over, good night. He's like your man Raiola, a bleeding street fighter. Yeah, so
absolutely, 100%.
Of all the people to start the row with, Mateta ain't the guy I'm going for. I can tell you that for sure.
Just ask Konate and Virgil van Dijk.
He is one big boy.
We were there and we witnessed it.
Yeah, 100%. He look after himself, that kid.
And when he had destroyed Konate's will to live, he moved over and started on Virgil. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. How do you see this playing out on Sunday, Super Sunday?
I think it'll be, you know, I've seen United and Liverpool games over the last number of years, and I've always described them as the same sort of situation. One was a good a good team of players, you know, who are putting everything one way, and then the other was a team going out to spoil a game. And I imagine we're going to get a bit of that on Sunday. United will be there to spoil. And they will look to play on the counter, obviously. And I'll be interested to see, and for me, this is really big. I'd be interested to see how the boy Sesko gets on against Konate and Van Dijk. And now, here's what I will say. I'm certainly not suggesting if he doesn't score, he's a flop. That's not what I'm saying. And even if he does score, it doesn't mean he's going to be the next Ronaldo. I just want to see how he gets on against the two boys. For me, they'll be the best partnership he's played against so far. And I want to see how he leads the line. Physically, he's a big kid. He's very good with the ball at his feet for a lad of that size. We need to see if he can. Something I felt we really struggled with at times was when we had somebody like a Hoyland up there. He was very, very isolated. I think we'll find out on Sunday, is Sesko the guy who can hold the ball up and look with his back to goal and be able to bring the guys in around him? Because if he doesn't do the first job, and Bilmo and Cooney and Fernandez and the boys in behind don't get to
the material.
So it's really, really big. What can he do with the ball? How long can he keep hold of it? How can he keep the two boys behind him, busy and stuff like that?
And we know that sometimes Konate struggles with dealing with bigger physical players up front against him and stuff like that and all. So we'll see.
Yeah, he likes to kind of bully guys. And if he can't bully it, at times he's unsure what to do next. I'm not sure what option B is here. I've tried to bully him, it didn't work. Oh, well, but we'll see. What would I take? Do you know what, lads? I don't think it's as bad as you think it is. And I think especially with the...
Is it any worse than ours?
Well, I don't think with the addition of the goalkeeper, we've gotten any worse, No. I think it's a huge day for him.
That's going to be interesting.
I think it's a huge day for him.
With the cop on his back. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah. That's going to be massive because obviously he had a great first outing. He really, really did. Yeah. And it was a big sigh of relief. Oh my God, I don't think.
And the one thing I would say prior to the reaction, if it did happen, if Liverpool put 3 or 4 past him, I'm not putting that on that kid at all.
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. And I still want to see when we go next week, and I think it's Brighton next week. We have at home. When we do go home next week against Brighton, I want to see him come and do what he did against Sunderland. It's been a long time since you saw a cross being collected like that and being cheered like it was against Sunderland. That ball got popped into the air, and this guy 6'5" came and took them like they were low hanging fruit, and the crowd went mad as if he had.
Isn't it mad? And you would think that's the minimum expectation.
And I'm looking at this right now. Don't forget, I've 2 young lads that play in goal, and Andrew's 17. If those 2 crosses go in against Kilbarrack, and if he doesn't come and take them the way that lad does.
That's bread.
I'm tying him to the back of the car and I'm dragging him home.
Yeah.
Do you know?
That's,
and he's
that's
17.
your minimum. That's your minimum.
Absolutely. I just think that it's crazy how low the bar is dropped.
Yeah.
Now he looked, thankfully, touch the wood, he looked ice cool. We will find out what he's made of at Anfield. I think that'll be the acid test. But if we could get something out of it, if we could get a draw out of it, a 1-1 or a 2-2, keep things rolling, go next week, beat Brighton, all of a sudden you're starting to build a little bit of momentum,
7 points from 3, yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Question for you. The Athletic went out and they did a survey of 20 agents.
Saw this. It was crazy. This was crazy.
Wanted to get your thoughts on it.
What was this about? Yeah, well, there was obviously various different questions that they asked him as well, by the way. Now, I know, obviously, the one you were going to mention is Sesko, right?
Yeah, well, he got 6 votes out of the 20.
7. He got 7.
So he's 7 votes out of the
He
20.
got 7 votes. And I'm looking at someone on the list and I'm like, he got 7 and he got 1. I'm like, what? Who was you don't have the list there, do you?
I don't, but I tell you one thing, as a Liverpool man, I probably have at least 15 signings ahead of him.
I was like, I can get it up here. I subscribe to it.
Bert's got 1. I think Isaac got 1.
Yeah, now here's the only thing I will say. Like, don't forget, we're still not judging these guys on what they've done so far.
We've a small sample size, but still to go out and do that.
Exactly. It's a very small sample size. Here we go. Okay, so agents believe Sesko's move to United was the worst deal of the window. When 20 agents were surveyed, some voted for more than one player. So there may be more than 20 votes, right? And Sesko received the most votes. Let's just look at the list, by the way, because I think this is mental. Who's below? You're right. He got 6 votes.
Yeah, 6.
The next worst was James Trafford with 3. And then everyone else underneath had 1. Jadon Sancho. Has anyone watched Jadon Sancho play football lately?
No.
He is absolute garbage.
Big up Romy.
Piles and piles of hot, steaming garbage. Like, fucking hell. I'll tell you somebody else who's getting off the hook here massively so far. And I don't like throwing guys' names in just so we can shit on them, yeah? However, there you go. Will you tell me what the boy Gittins at Chelsea has done so far? Anonymous. Completely anonymous. Yeah? And they paid 50 plus million for this lad. Fucking anonymous. He's like the invisible man. And I'm like, it's a bit necky. Do you know? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. The other one that was a little shock to me, and I have to be careful here because obviously Sancho was at Chelsea, Gittins is at Chelsea, but Facundo Buonanotte from Brighton. Now don't forget, last year he was on loan at Ipswich at one stage. He's now on loan at Chelsea, and I'm like, I'm not so sure. I actually, would you believe? Look at this. I'm going to show you this. I commented under that post from The Athletic. I wonder, can you see this? Oh, here we go. Go back.
Probably better off reading it to us.
Hang on, okay. Let me just see. Hang on. There you go.
So what you're saying is Man United live rent-free in the heads of agents too.
Right.
Yeah.
That was 4 days ago.
I was thinking about it because I heard about it. I think I was listening to the United View with Flex one of the days going in with the traffic. And when they said it about Sesko, I was thinking, God, he wouldn't have even come into my mind, actually, as a top 5 or top 6 sports signing.
Not as one of the hottest prospects in Europe. Like, this kid was linked with Arsenal. This kid was linked with Newcastle. This kid was linked with a lot of the big clubs around Europe, and him being the next big thing in terms of a striking talent. So why would that deal have worried you more than anyone else? Do you know? Strange, but listen.
Yeah. Right. Quick one on League of Ireland. What do you reckon? Rovers get it done this week away at Pats in Richmond tomorrow night? Pats have had a massive drop-off.
They have. They absolutely have, except it gets tough when you get into that position to fall over the line. I don't necessarily think that that's the place to get the job done. Now, obviously, as they only need a point, life is a bit easier. If they go win,
he'll have some players back as well. He's had players out through injury and internationals.
Yeah, so he listen. I think they'll get a draw, I think that's all they need. But I think he'll get the draw. You know?
Yeah, from the sounds of listening to Stephen Bradley, he wants to get it done. He wants to focus on the European games, get it done. And of course, they have the FAI Cup coming up as well. Your own team Shells with a big win on Friday.
Couple of big wins.
Sorry, on Monday, I should say.
Couple of real big wins for them recently. You know,
you reckon they get that European spot?
And a great point in the Europa as well, by the way.
Yeah.
A real good. Is it 3 or 2 getting the spots?
It's 2. Phil might be able to test. I think it's 2. Phil was at the game down in Cork. Was he at the game down in Cork, Phil? I think, or a couple of the lads were there anyway. So, for me to watch Chelsea,
is it definitely only 2? Why did I think it was 3?
Well, no, it must be 3 actually. Well, is it 2 and 1 into a qualifier?
Yeah, so there could be. Yeah, I think. Listen,
could be 3,
if that's it, think from a Dublin point of view, wouldn't you love to see Rovers, Shells, and Bows get the spots? However, at the same time, gonna throw a bit of shade here. Would you like me to throw some shade?
Why not?
I follow a particular influencer on Instagram. And he's a big Bows fan.
He has abracadabra sauce, does he?
He might do, yeah.
Hmm.
And he said he had to stop going to the games because of the level of abuse he was getting from the Bows fans. And he is a Bows fan. And I'm just like...
Well, you're not shocked, are you? Or I should say, you're not surprised.
Listen, as I said before, nothing shocks me. But I'm like, not anymore. Like, it's just... But I'm just thinking, what have they... Like, he said lads were coming over to him at games and intimidating him and telling them they were going to do A, B, and C, and D to him. And you're like, what is wrong with people? What is wrong with people?
Well, it's kind of inbred in our culture, really, isn't it, to put down people who are thriving?
Oh, it's so sad. Like, honestly, why? Surely, if you're a Bows fan, and in every video that this guy puts out on Instagram, he goes up the Bows, right? Surely you take him on as your guy, and you're as proud as punch that when those videos get whipped around the world, he's putting Bows into the forefront of people's minds, you know, and like that just makes sense to me. But he mentioned he brought his nephew to a game last year, and I think he said he left with him, and I was like, that's horrific.
Yeah, that's terrible.
That is terrible, man.
Yeah,
really is. That was a bit of a black mark against Bows for me. Just a little bit. Now, like, in the same breath, I have a couple of pals that are Bows fans. And they go up to almost every home game. And they are the nicest guys you could possibly meet. So in my head, I'm going, oh, this guy and this guy, I'd have a point with them. They're great guys. And then this other lad is telling me when I go to the stadium and they abuse me. And I'm like, I don't know.
Do you know what it is? Maybe as well. You can see lads who might be the greatest guys in the world until they step through those turnstiles onto that terrace.
Oh, listen, for me, I know. No, I know the guys I'm talking about. These aren't.
But you know what I mean? Do you ever know the guy who you think is salt of the air and he do out for you, and then he puts 4 points in him and he wants to blade someone on Camden Street?
No, I do. Yes, I do. I know a couple of lads like that. But the guys I'm talking about are not those kind of guys.
No, I don't mean your guys. I mean in general.
Listen, in general, does it happen? 100%. But and there was a lot of, when I read the comments under the video, I said to myself, I wonder, like, how does this? And there was a load of people underneath saying, like, saw you at the stadium before, couldn't believe the way people were treating you. And I was like, what? I was like, is this mad? This is mad. Anyway.
when your fan base is calling out your fan base on something like that, you know,
He went to the
inherently,
Ireland game the other night instead.
Hmm.
And I was like, well, hopefully you feel a bit more welcomed at an Ireland game than you do with your own team's game. But that's real sad.
It's insane, especially when you're trying to, you know, promote the league, develop the league,
Promote
market.
it.
Yeah.
He has the jersey on every time you know, most of the time he makes a video.
Now, I could also see a side why people may not like him. Like, but for me, if I didn't like him, it doesn't give me reason at a match to go over and absolutely intimidate him. I want to put his head through a railing around him. That's a different level.
There's loads of people that I don't like.
Yeah.
However, I'm certainly not going to go over and try and intimidate them.
No.
At a football match with, you know what I mean, or anywhere, you know, in a boozer or
Maybe
out walking around the street.
Maybe a wrestling show.
You know, you have to be careful of these things, you know. But like, just crazy.
Yeah.
Just crazy. I was like, that really disappointed me. Now I have to say,
Keith, I can't even bring myself to talk about who we're linked with. We were linked with about 10 players this international window. It's a garbage. Can we try and sort out what we already signed first?
Did I hear again on the grapevine? If my mum made me a Pals fan, I put myself up for adoption as a kid. Oh, take a bow, my boy. Take a bow. Did I hear that this summer transfer window and all of this spending of the money was going to be a bit of a one-off? Did I hear this?
Well, I would assume it's going to be a bit of a one-off. It's certainly not the norm.
No, it's not the norm. However, I think from a fan's point of view, you might be misled to believing that this is going to be something that will happen, you know, year on year.
You'd want to be an extremely stupid Liverpool fan if that's how you think about it.
However, I believe, you know, that the reins are very much pulled back in again after what's been done, and rightly or wrongly with how things have landed so far. Do you know? Because like, I think obviously out of the new signings, who would you look at and gone blowing it out of the water right now? Nobody really. Do you know? And after spending that kind of bread, that was the fear for me. If it didn't work after spending that kind of bread, you never spend it again. You know,
well, see, he bought it in a way, like the purchases are in a way they bought like not youth, but you know what I mean. So they bought players that you would expect in their positions if they do hit their stride or if they did hit the ground running and stuff like that. You could be looking at 5, 6, 7, 8 good years with some of these players, you know. I mean, what are these players? 21, 22, 23?
Absolutely, yeah. They've been bought for the long term of the club. Yeah, I agree. But it was just interesting to see that, you know, that there was comments come out and it was like, no, where the purse is very much closed for business for now. You know, we won't be.
Well, they came out with a statement there. They celebrated 15 years ownership of Liverpool there the other day in Fenway Sports. That they came out and John Henry he says we're still building for success and there's many more glory days ahead and we expect to win a lot more silverware and all that kind of stuff, which you would expect that's what would be said. But certainly this year they put their money where their mouth is. So the expectation is that Arne Slot figures this out, these boys get humming and we get back to what we should be doing, which is playing a brand of football that's not only pleasing on the eye, but actually delivers performances and puts points on the board and, you know, gets us actually defending our title the way we should.
Does it have to look good if you're getting the wins?
I think there has to be a certain amount of that in it. You know what I mean? I think obviously the 3 points is ultimately the most important thing on any match day.
Well, here's a question for you.
I don't necessarily want to go through a whole season looking at the first 5 games.
So you know the first 5 games. This is what it was going to come to. You know the first 5 games, and obviously you know that was you guys showing everybody how to get over the line in games. That in itself we said is a skill, right? But if you were to do that over the course of the season and won a championship, would it bother you if it was a lot of late goals, a lot of, or would that be okay? Would you be like, no, listen, once we win, I don't really.
Late goals don't necessarily bother me because like a match is 90 minutes plus added on time.
Yeah.
I don't care whether we score a winner in the 70th minute or the 89th minute, so long as we score a winner. But I do still want to see a level of performance that suggests to me that there's a kind of, like we spoke about it a week or two ago, where we spoke about not only have we brought in new players, but we've kind of ripped up the blueprint a little bit. That kind of got us to the dance.
Yeah.
But I want to see my team. I don't want to see my team going out with a sense of nervousness and no confidence against a Brighton or against a Bournemouth or against a Brentford or against, you know what I mean? I want players to go out and express themselves in the best they can. But I'd like to see us play. I'd like to see us basically create the chances we created for Darwin Núñez, for Alexander Isak. That's what I'd like to see happen.
Is that difficult though with the changes you've made in personnel?
Absolutely, it is difficult, and it's difficult as well to bed
don't
in
forget,
that amount of players and change things. And
so often for me, I would have looked at the chances that were being created, and a huge portion of them, huge percentage of them, were Diaz and Jota, or creating them.
Or converting them.
No, I think when I'm talking about, like with Núñez, when the chances were being created, they were being created when, there was a foil for Núñez, whether it was Jota at the 10 and him at the 9, and, or it was Diaz on that side, because we know Salah, there wasn't a lot of bringing others into play for Salah. It was always get it onto your left foot, check in, and then pull the trigger at the front post or go for the bendy one at the back. Whereas I think a lot of the other stuff was created by Diaz and Jota, and that's where maybe, okay, you can do nothing about Jota leaving the building. But then if Jota's left the building, is there a case to not sell Diaz?
But we know Diaz wanted out. We weren't chasing the Diaz sale. Diaz's dad and all was flashing his bum at clubs since we released him out of the back of the van.
Yeah, but is there a case for Liverpool turning around saying, well, yes, listen, the money's really good. However, we think with what's gone on at the club and with, how things have changed, that we're not comfortable allowing another one of those players to leave the club.
But you can't, it's very hard to keep him if he doesn't want to be there. And if you're in, and what I would say as well is,
you're not just throwing money at him.
No, because I don't think it was necessarily.
Why do you think he leaves Liverpool though?
But I don't think he's leaving necessarily just because of money. I think originally he wanted to go to Barca, and I think the Barca door shut, obviously, because Barca financially were trying to obviously bring Rashford in on the loan deal.
So why does Luis Diaz leave Liverpool for Bayern if it's not money?
Well, you're guaranteed silverware. Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, we can't turn. No one's going to stand on this podcast and turn around and go against Bayern Munich in terms of a Bundesliga, in terms of a cup, in terms of whatever it is. You're going to be in the conversation in the Champions League. Harry Kane. Is it not
a bigger? Like if I win a Bundesliga or win a Premier League, which is better?
Yeah, but I think Luis Diaz may have looked at it, and he may have said, look, they're going out here and they're spending and they're buying players, and maybe slotted a conversation with him and said, Cody Gakpo is going to be my guy this coming season, and you're going to be number 2, and he didn't want to live with that. Now, whether that's right or wrong or indifferent, we don't know. But all I know is every week I had to tolerate last season about Luis Diaz and his dad talking about a move. And I just think eventually you have to turn around and you have to go, okay, look, we're in the market here. We're spending money. We're bringing players in. Okay, there's going to be a lot of changes, I'm not saying it was the right decision, the wrong decision. I mean, listen, I've often looked back on how
I just think it changes the style too much.
Yeah, but I went through the same thing with Mane, At times, Mane was, even better than Salah at times. He was incredible at times. You know what I mean? And I think at times there, we kind of mismanaged him a little bit in terms of how we felt about him and how we felt about Salah, and it kind of it left a bad taste in his mouth, and he wanted to go. But he was an incredible player, you know. But I think what's going on at the moment is I think Slot just needs to figure out. He needs to put out there the 11 with players in their positions, and he needs to maybe just bring it back slightly a little bit and go back to what's
So what do you
winning games.
what do you do? Because obviously you need the new players that have come in need game time in order to build. Now, forgetting that Sunday is United, with Liverpool's long-term future, you know, right in the window here.
Yeah.
What team are you picking over the next number of weeks to get that traction, to get that team to move in the direction you want? So
well,
obviously,
I think I do exactly what you said for Sunday. I go back with the
so this is what you're saying. This is for Sunday.
No, but I mean going forward, that's what I would do, and then I would introduce those guys at ample time when it's time to introduce them. And then,
so you've got Kirkes and you've got Isak in the team, and Wirtz and Frimpong aren't now in your team.
No, not for me.
And
but that doesn't say. But I mean, that doesn't say if you go out and play against, say, a Burnley for argument's sake, and you're 3-0 up or you're 4-0 up.
So this is where I said to you, forget about who you're playing. Forget about who you're playing. What team do you want to see going forward for Liverpool? Like, if everything works, what are you playing?
I'm playing 4-3-3.
And what players are you playing in what positions? So who's your right back?
My right back would be Conor Bradley.
Right. We take it you've got Van Dijk and Konate, and on the other side you're going Kirkes or Robertson?
Either or.
Right. Is Robertson not in the rear view mirror though?
He is in the rear view mirror.
If you're building.
Yeah, he is. But I mean, there's times when you need to, like, I think he's done a better job on that side between how he's handled Robbo and Kirkes than what he's done on this side with Frimpong and Bradley. Because Bradley's come back off injury and he hasn't quite come back as the Conor Bradley of, say, last season. And obviously being injured and stuff like that, it's going to take a bit of time. Frimpong has just been, I think he's kind of an unpolished kind of diamond, really, that needs a bit of coaching. I see him more, you know, I don't think, and I said it in the summer as well, that I wasn't sure whether we were signing Jeremy Frimpong as a right back. Because I think he's actually more, I think he actually plays more like a right winger.
See, I think Frimpong would have been much better suited at United, playing on the right-hand side, wing-back position with 3 centre-backs, where you would get that Frimpong and you would deal with this one. I think your problem is because you're playing in a flat 4, he won't get high enough to get that Frimpong. He's under massive pressure going this way.
We're playing players in a flat 4 that should be in a back 5 with 3 and 2 wing-backs. Yeah. And this is fundamentally the issue.
So midfield then, who are you going in with?
Dom, Gravenberch and McAllister.
Can I make the assumption you're going with Salah and Isak up front?
Oh, yeah.
And then on the left-hand side?
Cody.
So then how does Wirtz, or where does Wirtz fit into this? And I know what you're saying about when we play Burnley, but what I'm saying to you is, like, he's going to have to, if you buy somebody like a Florian Wirtz and you pay the money you've paid, he wants him to make a difference against Chelsea, Arsenal, United, City. How do you do that as Liverpool?
But see, the conundrum that we have at the moment is with our front line as well, and what we have done. We don't play that 10. We've gone out and we've bought a 10, and you don't play it in the system. So my argument
absolutely
is if you're going to include Florian Wirtz, then Florian Wirtz, I don't think we play 4-2-3-1 or whatever it is. Or
so then, are you looking at a situation where you go in with 2 6s or a 6 and an 8, where Gravenberch sits, Szoboszlai is the legs at the 8, Wirtz is your 10, Gakpo on the left, Salah on the right, and Isak
or you could go potentially another way where you go with a 4-4-2 with a diamond, and maybe that's how you find the place for Wirtz in the team.
And then you just go with Isak and Salah up front as a 2.
You could go with Isak or Salah, or you could put Ekitike and Salah, or Ekitike and Isak, whichever way you want to do it.
Well, if you go with it, but if you go with a diamond, right, your diamond is 4 centre midfielders. So then you'd be going in with Gravenberch 6, Wirtz 10, and McAllister and Szoboszlai is the 2 8s.
Yeah.
But then you lose your width on both sides. Do you know? Now, I think you've hit the nail on the head, by the way. I think he's went out and bought one of the best 10s in world football.
For a team that doesn't play a 10.
This is the problem. This is the problem.
And that is now our conundrum. That is now our conundrum. And that's why I think we have to scale it back. And I don't really like the talk either that's coming out as well of Ekitike on the left. I'm not liking it a whole lot at all.
No, but what I will say is,
because the other issue we have as well is, in terms of forward players, Ekitike is probably our most informed forward player.
Oh, so there's no question there.
So then do we sit Isak and Wirtz down? Do we put 240 million or whatever it is sitting on our bench?
This is, this is tough. Can you go in?
This is a conundrum that has to be figured out. This is
if you went in and played the diamond, right? Could you play Ekitike and Isak as the 2? Put Salah as the point of the diamond behind the 2 boys.
No.
And then go with Gravenberch and then Alexis and Szoboszlai either side.
Salah in behind the 2 front boys gets dispossessed too easy. Because they'll just double up on him, and then he gets taken out of the game. We've seen it time and time again.
I don't necessarily think just because you're playing inside, he gets doubled up on, because don't forget, most teams have the ability to do that on either position.
It's down to. Yeah, but we've seen they do it even when he's out on the wing, when they double up on him.
Obviously, you struggle to score the type of goal he scores, because if you're out wide and you're drifting in and you pick it up in your left foot and you go for the bendy one, that's very different. You're not doing that. But is he able to then pick the ball up?
Yeah, but you're putting them into a very typically crowded area as well. Then doesn't tend to open up that much there as well when you look at how you're setting it up. And because of the nature of Mo Salah as well, you've got to see him, rather than staying structurally where he is in the formation, he's going to drift into where you expect an Isak to be. Or
is he one of the fall guys then?
I wouldn't like to think a situation where Mo Salah comes out of the team, but if we are talking about planning for the future, and if we are talking about stuff like that, I'm not necessarily saying he's the guy that sits down. But you need to, again, it's another one where you need to figure it out. It's another one to be figured out. Look, you're supposed to play your best players on form. Our form has been shocking. And Mo Salah's is right up there on the top of the list in terms of shocking form so far this season. I don't know if you've seen the game. Did you see the Chelsea game? How many times he was dispossessed and everything else?
Yeah, he was very poor.
Yeah.
I saw, this was a stat that I looked at myself. So it wasn't necessarily, and I'm going to just go and get it. I'm not sure. See, I think he works a lot better at Madrid.
I think fundamentally the issue is, unless they figure out what they're doing and they want to fundamentally change and play a 10, but then I think if they want to fundamentally change and play a 10, then they have to go with the 5-3 with the 2 wing backs, and
then what are you doing? Are you having Salah and Wirtz as your 2 10s behind Isak?
Possibly, yeah.
And Frimpong and Kirkes, 3 at the back, and
you're
2
3 at the back.
holding.
And I wonder if that was the plan, but Mark Gahey didn't enter the building.
Are you still a little bit short of centre backs there? Even if you get Gahey, based on the fact that you have 3 playing week to week.
No, because you still have cover there in terms of Joe Gomez, and we know that Robbo can come in tight on the left-hand side.
Well, if that was the case, then would they not have done it anyway without him?
In as well. I don't know. Maybe is the manager sending a message that he didn't get Gahey or something like that? I don't know. But I just know we could see fairly quickly that the issue with the flat back 4 with the 10 and various things like that just does a disjointment there. And you can hear like if Kirkes is coming out going, we're not kind of playing in the way that's to my strengths, the way I played at Bournemouth and stuff like that and all. And I'm not necessarily saying that he played that formation or this formation, but obviously he's picking up the ball, trying to do what he wants to do, and the formation doesn't lend itself to his strengths or whatever it is. So it's a conundrum that has to be figured out, and it's going to be tough enough because there's players there. And listen, we always say it as well, like players don't suddenly become bad players overnight.
No.
I just think
it's certainly
formations and play. And then the thing about it as well is I'm sure Salah, in his own mind, we've seen it where he cuts in and he doesn't want to necessarily play the pass, he wants to take the shot. You know what I mean? I don't think Salah wants to see himself as being the provider for Isaac or Ekitike or something like that. I'm not saying he's selfish, but we've seen it in the Mane days as well. At times where he wouldn't shift the ball to Mane, he was open, and Mane got extremely frustrated, and he'd go for the shot himself, but Mane might have a tap in central goal. So it's not like we haven't seen this picture before. It's not like we haven't seen the picture of midfielders in defence and made an absolute shit of it till we put defenders back in defence. We've seen Jordan Henderson in there. We've seen Fabinho in there. We've seen similar things now with Dom going into the right back and stuff like that. This just doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us,
It's a big conundrum. Here's what I just wanted to touch on, because I looked at this the other day and I couldn't believe what I was watching. Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak have played the last 2.5 games up front for Sweden. So they played 90 minutes last week against Kosovo at home with the 2 boys up top, Gyökeres and Isak. They lost 1-0 at home to Kosovo. The game before, they were at home against Switzerland. They again played the full 90 minutes with Isak and Gyökeres. Neither of the boys scored, lost 2-0. And the game previously, they were away in Kosovo and played from half-time onwards with Isak and Gyökeres and lost the game 2-0. Sweden haven't scored a goal in their last 3 games, and in 2.5 of those, in 5 of those halves, they've had Victor Gyökeres and Alexander Isak on the bench, on the pitch together, and haven't scored a goal. Haven't scored a goal. Is that crazy? Is that crazy?
Is it crazy from what we've seen?
It's crazy.
It's not like Victor Gyökeres has been tearing it up at Arsenal either. I mean, and to be honest with you, and a lot of people have been saying this, if Kai Havertz is fit, I think Arteta might sit him down.
I don't think he will.
I'm telling you, he's a Bertha guy. He's a Bertha guy.
No, I don't. That's definitely not happening for me now, I have to tell you.
The news coming out of Arsenal this week was how great Kai Havertz's recovery is going, and he's ahead of time, and they see him coming back ahead of schedule and all this kind of thing. What does that tell you if that's the narrative?
Well, listen, it's great for the squad, obviously, that he's on the way back and whatever, but you're not, under any circumstances, taking out Victor Gyökeres out of your starting 11 to play Kai Havertz. Not even slightly. Not a chance. Not a chance.
We shall see.
Not a chance. Now
listen, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't make the decision. Absolutely not.
Like, just crazy to even discuss it.
Absolutely. Insane. It is crazy. I think Valdemade will be better success at Newcastle than Isaac. Daz, don't give me a Pat McAfee beatdown for that statement.
I like Valtamari. I like him a lot. See, my
I
fantasy football team, I can tell you that.
I don't think that will be the case. I think Alexander Isaac, I think he will be a success at Liverpool.
Listen, I believe he will be as well. I just don't know when I'm looking at it. Like, when you look at Isaac for Newcastle, he was the big fish. Everything was get it to Isaac, get it to Isaac, get it to Isaac. When you're at Liverpool, you've got Salah on one side who doesn't really give a fuck if the ball ever goes to Isaac, right? You've got Gakpo
which has been my point.
Right? You've got Gakpo on the other side going, like, I don't mind if it goes to Isaac. However, I still need a certain amount of output for myself because otherwise I'm going out here. You've got Verge trying to make himself look good. Again, possibly Will trying to look, you've got Ekitike going, I don't give a fuck. Just give me the ball and let me do it myself if I have to. And, like, I just don't know. I don't. Yeah, it's going to be strange. It'll be interesting to see.
Isaac will be told to where you by our fans in the Champions League when he's dominated by Militao. Careful, Romy. The block's very early there. I am encouraged at the fact that Trent Alexander-Arnold will be fit for the game, though. We will, as the Russian in Rambo 3 said in the fourth about Rambo, he says, we will welcome him.
Spoken like a guy who now sees it from my eyes rather than those rose-tinted Liverpool glasses.
Oh, no, there's no in terms of the footballer and stuff like that. No. He's still a very, very good footballer. Questionable defender, but still a very, very good footballer. But
listen, if I want a right back, I want him to be able to defend. The lad can't defend. That's a fundamental flaw with buying a right back that can't defend. And don't forget, I am a guy who knows about right backs who can't defend. We played Diogo Dalot most fucking weeks.
Don't tell anyone, right? This is just between me and you and our subscribers. Kind of miss him.
No, you don't.
Would I want Trent Alexander playing those balls into Alexander Isaac?
Yeah, you wouldn't have him back, would you?
I didn't say I'd have him back. I said I kind of miss him.
With the disrespect that he showed your club? My word.
Sometimes you have to reach up into that sky and peel those clouds back.
No.
Kind of missing. Kind of missing that quality and that output.
Oh no. That's
Romy, you can fuck off. I know that. I know you don't need to remind me that. Frimpong couldn't defend a loaf to a toaster. At Rollins. Free hugs, no charge. At Romy, he means, I'd imagine. At Keith here, you're offering me a hug. You need a hug, pal. Come on now. Isaac is going to be a success. Yeah, I think he will. He will be a success.
I think he will be too.
I can't live my life going through another Andy Carroll. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it.
He was a quiz question the other day.
Andy Carroll?
Yeah.
What was the question?
It was a quiz on Sky Sports. And it was Callum Wilson against Jamie Carragher. And it was last person to score a hat-trick at Upton Park. And Callum Wilson voted for himself because he scored a hat-trick for Bournemouth against West Ham there a couple of years ago. And the answer to the question was West Ham. Or sorry, it was Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll.
Andy Carroll. And you're like, oh, God, no.
Did I read the other day he's playing for some Division 2 or non-league team or something like that at the moment, Andy Carroll? I read it somewhere.
I know he was in France and he loved it because he said he loved being able to walk down the road without. But something tells me.
Without what? He could do that in England, for Christ's sake.
Did something tells me, did he go and sign for like Gateshead United or something?
Something like that, yeah. He signed for someone like that, I think.
And they're quite a big, because at one stage, I think Kevin Phillips might have been managing them. I think, let me look.
Romy, at least it's not face to face. Andy Carroll is a Newcastle legend.
He's playing for National League South Club,
Yeah.
Dagenham and Redbridge. Oh,
Yeah.
God.
There's that word legend again now being thrown around.
That's a bit scandalous, isn't it?
Did you manage to do any bets? I didn't.
Neither did I.
Okay, so we didn't do any bets this week, folks. Last parting thoughts.
I'm not you're not allowed to bet in Dubai. It's against the law.
That's fair enough, and you're already there.
Absolutely.
Talk to me. Salary caps.
Salary caps. I know.
Talking about looking at this and talking about a number of clubs would be in serious trouble because they'd find it very difficult to come out the other side and not be in breach of what they're trying to put in.
So I would be absolutely in favour of a salary cap, provided the salary cap wasn't a percentage of what you brought in. That the salary cap was the same number for the team at the top of the league as it was the team at the bottom of the league. So if we decide the salary cap is going to be, let's just go mental and say 150 million. And that's your playing staff, right?
Yeah.
And let's say you've 150 million divided by 24 players.
Yeah.
6.2 million a year. So divided by 52 weeks, your average wage will be 120 grand a week. Now we know if you want to have a salad in there of 400 grand, you're then gonna have to take a hit and have lads in at lower. I'm all right with that. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Because what I also think it does then is, I think you end up where you don't have this Galactico situation where Man City buy up 20 players and throw 200 bags a week at them all because it doesn't allow them to.
Or you get into the conundrum that Villa's in at the moment with 96% of their revenue is their wages.
Yes. So I think I would love that. Fixed amount. Now here's the problem. Nobody's going to sign up for it. Excuse me. Unless it becomes a worldwide situation. Because what I don't want to be is, I don't want to be Manchester United, Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Chelsea, or Spurs, and be going to get, and
you're handicapped then going into Europe. You're
handicapped going into the market to get the best players in the world, because the boys in Saudis can go, here's 100 million for a year, and you as a club have 150 million for your whole playing staff. That couldn't be the case. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do think in that situation, it's going to be difficult to get buy-in because, again, how can you compete on a European and world level if the parameters aren't the same?
You also lose the draw value of, say, like the Saudi Pro League, because if they have to conform to it, then they ain't paying the boys the wage that they pay them currently.
Yeah, but they could do something similar to what the MLS have. The MLS have 3 franchise players per team. These fall outside of the remit of your FFP. So whatever the deal is with those particular players, it doesn't fall onto your books. It can be financed by your owners. It doesn't have to be, revenue that's brought in through the club, stuff like that. That's how you end up with an LA with Son, and you've seen Beckham there and stuff like that, and obviously Messi at Inter Miami and stuff. That's how they do it. But like Messi goes to training with lads that have just come out of high school and gone into an MLS draft, and who are on $5,000 a week, some of them.
I think we'd have to be careful in the area of creative accounting.
Listen, if you're found to be reaching, you're found to be reaching, but
Yeah, but
I don't know how you would.
we've seen. I mean, we've seen some of the issues that have been raised on the Chelsea books in previous times, and all. You know,
I know, and I really don't want a phone call about this tomorrow. Anybody? I know a Leinster Senior League club who were meeting players in a car park once a month to give them an envelope of cash in them. Leinster Senior League.
Yeah.
You were told once a month you've got to be in this car park between this time on this day. There'll be a black Mercedes or whatever. You pull up. How you doing? I'm Joe Soap. Yeah, there's your envelope. Boom. Leinster Senior League. Like,
I have the mics if we want to do a podcast that night at that.
is that mental? So, like, if that's the case, what's it gonna be? In, you know, you're gonna start this offshore accounts and
this, and this is my problem. And I'm not saying that doesn't go on now because we know it does. We're not that naive, but I think when you put in things like these, you know, I think you're leading. This is like, you know, finding a way around FFP and finding around a way PSR by selling women's teams and selling hotels and selling stuff to yourself and doing all this kind of thing and paying yourself, and you know what I mean. It's just like it's where does it end? And I'm not saying that they're not in breach of that and they're doing because the rules have been so loose and that the Premier League hadn't been zoned in on them the way that they should. But I think they'll find roundabout ways of doing this as well, you know. I think if you're on 400 grand a week and you can only be on 200, you're going to find a sponsor for 200 that gives you money in a different way, image rights or whatever it is.
So it then becomes null and void, really.
Exactly. So, and if it's not real and it's not, you know, like, you
or do you go the route where you say, because my dad was a particular fan of this for years, he'd say, when we'd be watching the Olympics, don't forget, after the final, 2 of these lads are going to test positive, you know. You say, what? Yeah, and if one of them is one of the lads that won the medal, someone else is getting it. She said, the best thing we can do is let them all take the gear and see who's the fastest with the gear. What have we got now?
What did they say with Lance Armstrong? They said the top 23 in the Tour de France all pissed off. So, I wasn't the only guy. It's just mine was better than theirs.
Right. So now you've talked of this enhancement game thing and the money that's on the line if you break a world record and yada, yada, yada. And the Irish guy, the swimmer, has gone into it and all of this. I'm all right with it. I'm all right with it from a point of view of there's no questions to be asked after it. You know, it's kind of like my least favorite thing in football right now is, you know, when we score a goal and I celebrate and then I wait to see what the little prick in the box has to say.
And it takes the good out of it. You're kind of like, but you're not both hands.
Well, I cheer and then I go, I start looking for reasons why this lad that lives in his mother's box room might take this goal at us.
And it kills you. It kills the buzz.
And you go,
it's not.
This is
they're
horrific.
Sucking the enjoyment out of it. Are we going to end up in a situation where we eventually end up in the draft situation? You know, where we see Burnley coming in and getting
the top pick in the draft.
Yeah, getting Bruno.
Well, you know what they'd be getting is surely they'd be getting the young English talent and stuff like that. Or they'd be getting lads of a certain age where, you know, where City and United and stuff like that have spent a lot of money on these younger guys. You know, we've talked about the captains of the national teams and this and that. And obviously Wilcox had a huge amount to do with that at City. And now it's kind of started to come to fruition at United and whatever. Do we, he's a fucking dope, that thing. Oh my God.
Imagine the sporting director of Burnley stepping up with the first pick of the season on the plane to going, yeah.
Well, don't forget Burnley, you know, well, it wouldn't be Erling Haaland, right? It would be, you know what I mean? Who are you going with? Are you going with, well, so could you get to a situation where the next crop, let's say, is with Burnley's first pick in the 2025 draft, we select Chido Obi of Arsenal. He goes that way, and Burnley either get to play the kid, or they use draft picks as a way of leveling the playing field, and then, you know what I mean? I don't know.
That's only out of choice, Romy. That wouldn't be, you wouldn't be thinking bad luck there at all, you little hound dog.
Right.
Anyway, pleasure as always. Just want to wish you the best luck in your holiday. Safe travels. Hope the whole fam has a great time.
Thanks.
Like you won't wait for 10 days, is it? A week? 2 weeks?
We leave Saturday night and we come home the following Sunday. So I only actually miss, it's 7 days, because we arrive in Dubai on Sunday and we leave on the Sunday. So it is 7 days. It's just with the night flight. But it just means I miss one podcast. So it's not too bad. I only miss next Thursday.
Okay. I thought you were going to tune in next week to the podcast dressed up like your man Turkey Al Sheikh, maybe potentially.
What time do we do it? It's 9 o'clock, right? So that would be 12 o'clock in Dubai. And the only issue is, some kinds of media aren't allowed.
Oh.
Because I don't know whether you know or not, but, and I may have to either mute or delete our group next week, because your WhatsApp is screened when you're in Dubai. So
no problem. Do
you know?
Make people aware. Make people aware of your location.
I might. Probably do it Sunday morning when I touch down, and it's. Do you want to know the weather?
Scorching, I'd say, is it?
You'll enjoy this.
Will I?
Not sure. So right now, what time? We were 11 o'clock. It's 2 a.m. in the morning in Dubai. It's 29 degrees, and it feels like 34.
Oh yeah, that's 29 degrees Dubai degrees. That's not Ireland degrees.
So the forecast is Saturday we leave. Saturday 36, Sunday 34, Monday 34, Tuesday 35, Wednesday 35, Thursday 35, Friday 36, Saturday 36, and Sunday 35.
I love that. I love the weather.
Well, I'm going to be in my nice air-conditioned room. Now, I do have a sea view. So
you should be down. You should be down
just,
at the pill. Be down at the pill with the fan thing. You know, the neck around like the headphones with the fans.
Could you crack the door open? Just for the sea view alone, just to be like, yes. Or is it too warm if I crack the door? I don't know. We'll see. Be interesting.
Depends on where you're standing with the aircon.
There's no point. I don't know if the aircon goes on if the door's open. Remember, most places have that done away with. That they're linked. That when the door opens up, the aircon switches off because they don't want you doing both, which makes no sense. I get them,
Yeah.
Who puts the aircon on open as the window? No idea.
True. Right. Well, listen, enjoy. I'll talk to you, sure, of course, before you go. And
you will.
Have a great time. Well earned, well deserved.
That's right.
Lady as well, and the kids to have a blast.
She'll kill me for this. Can you not hear her?
No. Just heard that there now.
She just stirred there. She had been snoring up until that point.
I never heard a thing. Unlike my dog, who's normally here.
Closer to the microphone.
That's it. Enjoy Dubai, Pat Lad, Romy says. Yeah, absolutely. Right, folks, that's it. I'll be back tomorrow night at 8:30 for a Liverpool Manchester United preview. Now there we'll be getting into further discussions about formations and 3-5-2 2, 1, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, or whatever it is.
Absolutely.
Hopefully the ball lad from Dutch has sorted it out anyway, and hopefully we get a belter of a game on Sunday. And if we don't, we shall see. 4 on the bounce wouldn't look good, sure it wouldn't.
Sure wouldn't.
Until next time, folks. Have a great weekend. Cheers. Cheers, Paul.
See you, brother.